They don't want to budge off of whatever they think he agreed to, and they don't plan to. Whatever the number was that they think he agreed to, handshake deal in March, that's what they're willing to pay him on a long-term deal. And if you don't like it, you're playing for 24. And if your hurt back, as Jerry put it over the weekend, keeps you from playing week one when you're going to make $24 million this year, that's up to you. But that's the flow chart in my mind. He either accepts the number that they think he agreed to via a handshake deal, or he plays for 24. And then if his hurt back keeps him from playing, there's nothing we can do about it. It's up to him at that point. I think they want, if he's not going to take the number that they think he agreed to in March, they want to get through this season at 24 and then figure it all out next year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. You've been saying that for over a week now, and I can't say that I disagree with you or anything like that. I certainly can see them doing that. Now, I don't believe that's the right approach. I think it's horrible. It's a horrible message. It's a horrible thing to do to the locker room and send that message to your team. You want to be being made fun of on NFL memes like you talked about yesterday and everything about, hey, it's been 30 years since you even got to the NFC Championship game and any of that. Right? I don't know if there's a team more made fun of in American sports than the Dallas Cowboys right now, and it's because of stuff like this. It is, and then that's where I go back to it. So it's like you can't have it both ways. You can't go, oh, I want to be in the media and relevant and have press conferences and do all that and kind of be a distraction for my team and not necessarily treat and handle the roster and contracts and star players the right way, and then think that's going to equate to a Super Bowl. That's crazy thought. Like, it's one of those where I want to go, say that out loud. Say that out loud. In fact, let's get Bill Parcells or Joe Gibbs or Bill Walsh or Vince Lombardi in and have them say that out loud and see what they think about that approach for winning football. And that's where it just does not make sense. And that's where we go back to, Micah Parsons might have to go scorched earth. Last thing, too, here on this, Mike. How have you not talked to Micah Parsons since he made those comments? How? I don't know. For me, the way I operate, I'd have been like over there later that night. Like, I saw it on Twitter. I mean, we know where they do training camps. I've been there. They're all 7 feet from each other.
There's nothing to talk about because it's just negotiating. It's just negotiating. I don't take it seriously. That's his attitude. So what's there to talk about?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. I think it's crossed that line.
Micah, I mean, look, we never intended it to get this far. Let's work this out. Have your agent call me. But there's just a stubbornness to it. That's what it is. There aren't many things in common between the Cowboys and the Bengals, but at the core, Jerry Jones, Mike Brown, it is, I'm in charge and you're not. I'm the boss and you work for me. I make the rules and you follow them. It's my money, and I'll give you as much or as little as I see fit. And I'll do business the way I damn well please. And if it's on a handshake, it's on a handshake. And I just think that is the core of it. It is power. It's not money. It is power that's at the core of this. And Jerry Jones does not want to look like he doesn't have the power that he thinks he has. Now, on that issue of handshake deals, and I'm glad that people are starting to realize that the idea of a handshake deal is just ludicrous because the CBA requires it to be reduced to writing as soon as practical. And it has to be negotiated and finalized with the agent. You don't just say, we got a handshake deal. Hey, league office. Hey, Roger, put us down for 5 years with Micah Parsons. We got a handshake deal, okay? Here's the numbers. Just put it down. It's a handshake deal. Just trust us. So Jane Slater of NFL Network asked Jerry yesterday about the whole handshake deal thing and reducing it to writing. And here's Jerry on why he thinks handshake deals are A-OK.
I bought the Dallas Cowboys with a handshake. Took about 30 seconds, and I gave the number, shook hands. The details we worked out later. As a matter of fact, one of the details involved a lot of money, and we had to flip a coin over that. But the fundamental, I'm buying, and you're going to sell it to me for that range, that's done. And those are done with eye contact and handshake.
So was there...
So just so you understand why the way that I communicate with people that I negotiate with. So but let's leave it at that. There is no question that in the case of a player contract, you have to have it in writing. All parties do. We have a contract in writing, yet we're still talking about renegotiating it. So much for that.
Ha! That's it. That's it. See when he says at the end, we have a contract. We have a contract. They want to pay him $24 million this year, and they want to keep the injury risk on him, and they want to deal with it next year. He keeps mentioning there's already a contract. There's already a contract. Honor your contract, even though he had no say over it. It's slotted, and then the 5th year is automatic under the CBA if the team picks it up. This wasn't negotiated. It's a formula. But Chris, when he said that strengthens my point. They want to pay him $24 million this year.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to engineer.
Yeah, they're like kind of taking that Bengals approach with Jamar Chase. And, you know, for them, though, what they're going to get is maybe some Bengals results and not get where you want to go. That's the problem. I mean, handshake, you know, bull crap. I don't give a damn. It doesn't hold water. It doesn't matter. It's against the NFL rules. I'm sick of the owners, and I'm not saying all of them, because some of them are very good in how they handle themselves and fair to the players and follow the CBA. But I'm sick of, like, the owners calling, oh, we got a contract, we got rules, we got all that. But I'm not going to follow the rules and actually talk to an agent and do that. I don't follow the rules. I'm an oligarch. I'm a billionaire. You follow the rules, peasant, not me. And that's just not the way it should be. Again, the owner should be the ones upholding the rules to the utmost. That's the way it should be. They should be the ones that go, no, this is how you handle yourself. Players, this is what we're doing here, blah, blah, blah. So I know, I mean, just what Jerry says is a lot of blah, blah, blah to me right there. And yeah, I just don't like the outside of, you know, speaking out of both sides of your mouth where it's like, oh, player needs to do this, player needs to do this. But I don't need to do anything the CBA says or follow any rules. I'll do it the way I want to do it. And that's not the way it's going to work. And Micah's too smart to have the old, you know, the old Texas swindler swindle him into signing some contract. No, that's not going to happen.
And just for the record, and so we don't get sued, Chris isn't saying Jerry Jones is a swindler. He's just using that term to illustrate the broader point.
Right.
We don't know whether or not Jerry Jones has actually swindled anyone at any point in his career. But as the very first line of The Godfather says, behind every great fortune, there is a crime. Again, that's just coincidental and unrelated to how Jerry Jones amassed his money. We have no idea whether or not he broke any laws throughout the course of his business. But you're hitting the nail right on the head. I've had this come up so many times as it relates to the franchise tag. The team uses the tool available to it under the CBA to hold the player in place and keep him from going to the open market and getting the reward that he has earned. But when the player uses the things that are available to him after this chess match has begun, the fans get mad. Why are you holding out? Because I'm entitled to hold out. I'm entitled to not sign a long-term contract. I'm entitled to kick it to next year and make a 20% raise. I'm entitled to use the things that the CBA gives me. They use the things the CBA gives them. And so you're hitting it squarely. The owners want to say, these are the rules. But then they want to reserve the right to ignore the rules that are inconvenient to the way they'd like to do business. Let's do a handshake. Let's cut the agent out of it. And, you know,
good teams don't do that again. That's what I'll say. I don't hear the Ravens or Bob Kraft or Jeffrey Lurie or any of those guys ever doing this type of stuff, right? They respect the process and the player, and that's why they're winning football teams on the regular.
I'm glad you interrupted me because it gave me a chance to collect my thoughts. Yeah. Because I don't know what happens when Jerry Jones cozies up to one of his players and starts talking about business. But there's at least a theory out there, or hearsay, or whatever. It's not strong enough to be clearly reported that this is what he does. But there is a belief, a suspicion, anecdotal evidence to maybe support it if we accept the hearsay evidence as true and accurate. They get some conversations about, you know, other ways that the player will be paid now and in the future unrelated to what actually goes into the salary cap. Side deals with Pepsi, for example, future deals that will be done, you know, at some point in time. And we do them on a handshake now, and we'll honor that handshake when your career's over. But different ways potentially to circumvent the cap and get the guy his money. Again, I'm not saying that happens. All I know is that there's some suspicion that these deals, because they also cut the agent out too. The agent's not getting 3% of whatever
future
Micah Parsons might get after he's retired. And again, I'm not saying it's happening. It's just, why does Jerry Jones do this so often? And are they only talking about football deals, or are the handshakes extending beyond the player's career? Just something to think about, to provide the motivation as to why he could be doing what he's doing. Something to think about.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't heard it much, like anything like that. I've always heard it with some coaches, right? I do know that. There's been some coaches that got little side money from a shell company or another company the owner owns, all of that. I think that goes down. I think people were suspicious about, hey, Tom Brady had the TB12 stuff there close to Robert Kraft, and that could have been a little baked into the deal of all that. But that, to me, is the only player I've ever heard in the NFL world, circles, whatever, that even dances on that. I don't know. But you're right. Who knows? But I feel like that'd be a hard one to keep a secret if you did it with too many guys, as time goes on.
The sweetheart deal that Tom Brady did to buy a piece of the Raiders, that's what we would have expected to happen with the Patriots. Isn't that the ultimate Mark Davis move? He does the deal. He does the thank you career achievement deal with Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady never played for the Raiders. If anything, Tom Brady robbed the Raiders of an opportunity to go to a Super Bowl the year before they went to the Super Bowl against the Bucs. They could have gone to the Super Bowl against the Rams. That was the whole Tuck rule game.
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
It's just the whole thing. And this is what happens when you allow this rampant practice of circumventing the CBA and talking directly to players. You're going to have suspicion as to what's really going on. Why aren't you just talking to the guy's agent and getting the frickin' contract done? Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.